nature. But critically, we look at the fourth principle, and that is it's got to be a human-centric approach. It's about the just transition. It's ensuring that people are involved, that people start to see the value. So whether we look at whether it's a social, environmental, economic, the focus is people. And that's often what we see in terms of the disruption that we're getting is that people are unsettled, people are unhappy. Yeah, that the environment is damaged, the jobs are an issue, the economy is uncertain. When you start to look at applying the principles of circularity, it starts to bring all of those together around a people-centric focus. And that critically is kind of the modus operandi you want to try and push this on is that how do we bring people together? And it's about the benefit, the greater benefit to humanity and the people of that area. Again, utilizing the resources that are available to them within the confines of their space. And there are so many opportunities that most people don't see that we do as circular economy specialists. We look at things from a very different angle, which often people who are stuck in the rut on a daily basis, they don't see the wider picture. They don't see the opportunities around them. And it's how we tie those different components in from a circularity perspective. You know, we need to look at perhaps creating a roadmap. We look at a circular economy roadmap, understanding how those opportunities would tie together, how the different sectors would pull into that, and how we can try and pull the different opportunities. The rubble alone, I can give you direct numbers immediately. If you tell me what rubble is where, I can tell you exactly how many jobs we can create, what the opportunities are in terms of construction and opportunities. Yeah, the same thing in terms of the palm waste and everything else. We can look at those numbers and actually come up with realistic components that then cross tie into other components. They can tie into the energy sector, into the water sector, into the agricultural sector. So I think what we need to try and look at doing is to say, how do we, as Africa Circular, work with CAEP to drive a common opportunity to look at this? There is money out there. We know that from a geopolitical perspective, Libya has been a bit of a problem child for a while. And I think that there would be opportunities to target funding into an area that would create stability. Again, across that triple bottom line perspective, you know, people, planet, and PPP, people, planet, prosperity. So we've got to look at seeing how we do that. I think what we need to do is to take this to the next stage, is to say, how do we do that? How do we work together with you? We also need to understand who you are and what CAEP is. Who else do we bring into that that might give it a greater depth, a greater acceptability, and look at the opportunities then of saying, right, let's tackle this one step at a time. Let's look at a key opportunity. Maybe that's the rubble. Let's look at something where we can pack down and say, let's look at opportunity 1, 2, and 3. Or we try and look at an action plan, you know, a strategic action plan based on a circular economy roadmap that ties people together, the different stakeholders that then are aligned in terms of a vision of making this go forward. That does help to bring together cohesion to make this a reality. Sarah? Mm. Mm. Okay. Mm. 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 Good. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe I can come in here,
Mm-hmm.
and the perspective I will come and speak about is from also experience in Arab countries, in Egypt, in Morocco, Tunisia. The situation for action plans and roadmaps, these are policy pieces. As such, these policy papers, pieces, reports have to always be done in cooperation not only with international institutions like UNDP, GIZ, or UNEP, you name the international organization. The government has to be on board, because at the end of the day, the authority to implement is only with the government, and also the ownership has to be with the government and society. And that's why in all our projects, we have reached a conclusion from all our previous projects, is that it's all the government has to be on board, and also an international organization, as I mentioned, such as UNDP, UN, GIZ, and so forth. So those are the basic elements, plus also NGOs. So we also work with NGOs, but the two main elements that have to be there is the government, represented most of the time by the Ministry of Environment or the Ministry of Industry, because those are our two main partners in most of the countries that we work in, plus the international organization. I think those two elements have to be at the very beginning secured in any project, for this project in Arab countries to go forwards. It's very, we had an encounter before that we worked on a project, us, and it was, I think, I don't know, I don't remember if it was UNDP or the World Bank, and the government was not on board. And what happened is that by the end of this project was put in the drawers and no implementation, and it was not endorsed by the government. And when this happens, then I think it's not by any means useful. And I think it's kind of a work that goes in drain. So as such, I think the first step from your side, Mr. Sabri, is to secure international cooperation, but also government support, because otherwise, I don't think in Arab countries, in the structure of Arab countries, it will, in my opinion, develop further. So this is how also we work in Egypt. So the way we work in Egypt, we have GIZ, but we are working directly also with the Ministry of Environment. Because the Ministry of Environment, we cannot issue any policy or we cannot do any project unless the Ministry of Environment, the Waste Management Regulatory Authority, and since you're speaking about troubles, then also this is considered some kind of construction waste, and this construction waste is affiliated to probably some kind also of environmental protection agency, governmental environmental protection agency in Libya, I presume. So I think this kind of structure has to be set up. I also know that now the Ministry of Environment in Libya has been very active. They are also working on projects in other sectors like the energy sector, on CBAM. I've attended workshops, online workshops in Libya, specifically, for instance, about CBAM. So what I know is that the Ministry of Environment now is trying to pick up and to kind of develop many projects. And as such, I think this can also be a path that you might need to go through. It's an inevitable path, I would say, that you might need to go through. But personally, and this is also a personal opinion, I don't see it otherwise.
Mm. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Excellent. Okay. I think I've just been reminded, so I've got to be across town in 20 minutes for another meeting. But I think let's follow this thing forward. Obviously, we want to help. We want to work with you. And I think it's good that you've got the connections. Let's try and see what we can do to move this forward and then focus on one particular area. I think there's a lot to be done in Libya. We know that. But the best way of moving forward is to get traction on something. And if we could try and get a plan together and bring together the different stakeholders, that would be a really great way to get this moving, because then it provides you a platform on which one has a level of acceptance or authority to move forward with different components, and then to engage with international funders and local banks as well. So let's look at it from that perspective. I think it's been great to have a chat to you. Sarah, I leave this in your capable hands to follow through. Obviously, I will input as and when. But it's been really interesting chatting to you. Thank you. Good.
Thank you, Mr. Sabri. Thank you very much for the briefing and for your time.